Hi there, how's it going? I hope you are all having a wonderful day, and thank you so much for coming back to my channel, Eldon Acres. My name is Andrea, and today we are going to do a little bit of kitchen catch-up, I guess you could call it. So first off, I wanted to get some breakfast meal prep done. One thing I want to mention before I get too far into this video. I apologize if you can hear some thumping. We are in the process of getting our roof replaced, and I didn't realize that they were going to be starting today. So I apologize if you can hear a little bit of thumping in the background. Hopefully it's not too bad. They aren't working on this part of the house yet, but every once in a while I can hear a little thud here and there. Perhaps right now. I'm really hoping that you can't pick that up. And if you can, I am so sorry. Anyways, so we are going to get started on a little bit of breakfast meal prep. So I wanted to just get a sourdough Dutch baby going. I love to prep a Dutch baby. It's so good. They're so delicious. And I make one of these in my 9x13, and then I usually cut it into 6, and that will do us for 6 breakfasts. Usually my daughter and I have this for breakfast every day. We'll either do this or French toast or overnight oats or something like that. But because I'm going to be going back to work next week, I thought this would be a nice thing to have available to me in the fridge. Just pull it out, heat it up, add some fresh berries or some yogurt on top of it, and that's a quick and easy pull and go breakfast kind of thing. So we're going to start with that. I want to get that in the oven. And then once we've got that in the oven, I don't know if you can see just off here, I've got my harvest basket. So I've got all of our onions in here. So what I wanted to do is clean them up and get them into a storage bag. We didn't have a huge onion harvest, which is totally fine. We're still going to enjoy what we were able to get, but I'm not going to preserve them at all. We'll just use them fresh. So I just want to clean them up, get any dirt off of them, trim them up, get them in a storage bag, and then I'll keep them in my just down actually here in the island is where I keep my onions for fresh eating. So first off, let's get started on the sourdough Dutch baby. Now this is a sourdough recipe. I need to put a disclaimer out that I am absolutely not a sourdough expert by any means. I just started my sourdough journey maybe about 6 months ago, and I've made a couple loaves of bread, which have been great. It's fun to do. It's a process. I really enjoyed it while I was on maternity leave. But honestly, what I use my sourdough the most for is discard recipes. So this is a sourdough discard recipe. You don't have to use discard, you can use active sourdough starter as well, but I really like it because it uses the discard. So I've got my discard here. Now if there's not enough in my starter jar, I do have some more discard in the fridge that I can grab, but this is just kind of my sourdough jar. It's, as you can see, it's been through the ringer a little bit, but it works really well. So the nice thing about this recipe, it uses a lot of sourdough discard and a lot of eggs, and I have chickens, so when we've got lots of eggs coming in, it's a really good way to use up eggs. I will also make like egg cups and that kind of thing. Maybe a day here coming up in the future, I'll do like a full breakfast meal prep day where we can make some egg cups and French toast and all the things that, you know, breakfast sandwiches, all that kind of stuff that you can make ahead. Oatmeal, a baked oatmeal, those are really good too. But that's not today. I don't have time for that today. We've got lots of things to get done today. And I would like to get some more of my peppers harvested and put up, but we'll see how far we get. It's already later in the afternoon than I was hoping to start. Again, the kind of roof thing that's going on took a little bit of my time this morning, but hey, that's okay. I also wanted to mention the recipe that I'm using today is a recipe from Farmhouse on Boone. She has a YouTube page and a blog and an Instagram, all the things. And she is my #1 sourdough resource that I use all the time. So this is her recipe. You can find this on her website. As you can see, mine is very well loved. It's got lots of stains all over it. And actually I've used it so many times that I don't even need to look at it anymore, which is amazing and just goes to show, #1, it's super easy. #2, I literally make this recipe every week. So it is definitely tried and true. It's amazing because it's all done in the blender. So you can't get any easier than that. So let's get started. So first off, we are going to add all of our ingredients into the blender. So we're starting with 1/3 of a cup of milk. I use whole milk. That's just what we have. You can use whatever style of milk you like. I believe it also works with lactose-free options. I've never done it that way, but the recipe does say that you can substitute for a milk alternative. So I'd be curious to know if anyone's tried that and how it worked out. But right now we're just going to use a whole milk. So we're going to get that in there. I'm actually just going to move my pan. We'll just set that back here for now because we're not quite ready for it. And then it calls for 6 eggs. So these beautiful eggs from my ladies this morning, some of them were still warm when I collected them. So we're gonna crack them. I always crack them one at a time into a separate vessel just in case. Sometimes my ladies hide some eggs on me, bury them, that kind of thing, and you never know. I collect them every morning, but you know, there's that rare occasion every once in a while you get a bad one, and if you go and crack them all into the same bowl and you've got one bad one in there, you're throwing out all your eggs. So just a little hot tip if you use fresh eggs. Obviously, I don't think you have to do it with eggs from the grocery store, but just maybe a good practice to be in. So this recipe, as I said, we make it all the time. Bake it up and then let it completely cool, and then you're going to, what I do is I just cut it up into the portions that the sizes that we like, and I just put it into a container in the fridge, and it keeps in the fridge. I mean, usually around here, it only lasts a few days because we eat it literally if I have it. Oops, not following my own rules. I get talking and then I'm not paying attention. Anyways, it doesn't last very long around here, but I think you could probably keep it in your fridge up to, you know, maybe 5 days kind of thing. And another reason why you always crack into a separate bowl is in case you ever get a little bit of shell in there like I just did. It's just so much easier to get out now than if it was in your great big blender. There you go. So yeah, that's what I do with it. We just keep it in the fridge, and then I honestly just warm it up in the microwave. You could totally reheat it in an air fryer, would be amazing. Oh, I should try reheating it in an air fryer. That would just make it that much more decadent, I would think. We have an air fryer, so I should totally try that. But you could totally reheat it that way. You could even reheat it in your oven, I suppose. But it's just so easy to do in the microwave. And then we serve it. Sometimes if we're just having a simple morning, I'll just put maple syrup on it. I've made a berry compote to go on it. Compote, however you want to say that. It's really good with some Greek yogurt, berries. You can kind of do whatever you want. You can serve it just as you would French toast or a pancake. Now, I know there are lots of recipes out there if you just want to do I don't know what the word is, but a non-sourdough Dutch baby. I've seen many recipes out there, and I've made many of them too. So you should totally try that. Dutch babies are absolutely delicious. You can't go wrong with them. And I even think that you can freeze them. I have yet to do it, but I'm pretty sure you could probably freeze it as well, and it would freeze up really, very nicely. Okay, so that's our 6 eggs in there. We've got our 6 eggs, our milk. Now I want to add, let's do our salt next because I always almost forget the salt, and I never really measure it, but the recipe does call for half a teaspoon. And I have forgotten the salt before. Don't forget the salt. It's there for a reason. It really brings out the flavors. So that's our salt. Now we're gonna add some vanilla, so it's a teaspoon of vanilla. Again, I don't measure my vanilla. Measure from the heart, and usually I put more probably than it calls for. Now this isn't in the recipe, but I always add some, this is a cinnamon plus spice blend from Pampered Chef. I add just regular cinnamon too if you want, or pumpkin pie spice. This time of year would be amazing. Oh my gosh, pumpkin pie spice, you should totally try that one. I might have to try that one. Not today because I've already got this out, but anyways, I love to add just a couple dashes of the cinnamon plus. It just kind of elevates it a little bit and makes it kind of like a French toast custard. The flavor on this Dutch baby is in between a pancake and French toast and a crepe. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's delicious. So, okay, so we've got that. Now we need to add, let's pop our maple syrup. Now you can do maple syrup or honey, and it calls for 6 tablespoons. No, excuse me, 2 tablespoons. Let's not put 6 tablespoons in here. So 1, 2-ish. It's probably more. All right, and then the last ingredient that we need to go in here is 2 cups of our sourdough starter. So again, this is sourdough discard. I'm just gonna come around here and show you what it's looking like in there. She's looking beautiful. I just fed her yesterday and then put her in the fridge. So I'm gonna measure it out in here. And as I said, this probably isn't going to be enough sourdough in here, but I know I already have 2 cups pre-measured in the fridge. Now I don't want to use all of the sourdough out of my vessel here because I'm going to feed it and replenish what we use today. It's funny, this time of year, I think that's good for, I don't use my sourdough as much. This is the first time I have used my starter maybe in 2 months, and it's just sat in my fridge, chilled. It's been sealed up, and then I just re-woke it up yesterday, and it's good as new. It smells really, really good. I just am gonna grab the starter out of my fridge. I keep calling it starter, it's discard. This is my sourdough discard. So it's not as active, of course, as the starter was, but that's okay. So 2 cups, so we're gonna, don't want to come out of there. There she comes. Just maybe a little bit more. Perfect. All right. So that is our 2 cups. Get that into the blender. So then next we're just gonna whiz this up in the blender. What I'm going to do before I do that though is I'm gonna put my pan into the oven. I want my pan to get warm, and I'm going to add my 6 tablespoons of butter into that pan. While it's in the oven, the butter is going to melt, and we want it completely melted and just kind of like to swish it around the pan a little bit just to coat the edges and the bottom. Just kind of like you're greasing your pan. You just don't want anything to stick. And then the butter, of course, is needed in the recipe as well. I know 6 tablespoons sounds like a lot. Again, I don't measure it, but make sure you add at least 6 tablespoons. It's not the end of the world if you add a little bit more. As I say, I don't measure it. I'm sure I've added more in the past than I need to, but I wouldn't do under. So I'm gonna grab my butter. And it appears that whoever opened the butter forgot to put it in the butter holder. Not saying names or anything, but it wasn't me. Okay, so that's about 6 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more, but again, that's okay. So I'm gonna get this into the oven. So my oven there is preheating to 400, and it's supposed to be 425. And that is why we always double check our recipes. All right, so I'm gonna put this butter away. I'll try to remember to put it away in the butter container properly later. All right, so let's get this whizzed up. Perfect. Okay, so you just want to blend it up just until basically everything looks like a nice even consistency. So that's ready to go there. I just need to wait for my oven to come up to temperature and my butter to completely melt in the pan. So I'm just going to quickly put some of this stuff away while that's happening, and then we'll get it into the oven and get it baking. Okay, so we have our butter melted. I don't know if you can see it there. There we go. So I've just kind of swished it around the pan, got it up the sides, all over the place, which is perfect. And now we're going to pour our Dutch baby mixture into it. So normally when I do this, I just open the oven, slide the tray out, dump it in. But for the sake of making a video today, we're gonna do it like this. So as you can see, a little bit of the butter is pooling kind of on top there. That's perfect. That's exactly what you want. You want it to all be combining together. Oh, it smells yummy. It's gonna be delicious. I'm just gonna bring it a little bit closer just so carefully show you. So that's what we're looking like. So I'm gonna pop this into the oven. Carefully. Perfect, so that's in the oven there. Again, that's a 425-degree oven, and that goes in for, I believe the recipe says 15 to 20 minutes. I just double checked, but in my experience, 20 minutes works really well for us. It gets the nice crispy edges, and it's just, that's really how we like it. I usually check it about 18 minutes, but I think my oven runs a little bit under, so that's what works best for us. What I would suggest if you do make this is just checking it at 15 minutes. You're not supposed to open the oven before the 15 minutes because it will deflate your Dutch baby. So if you have a light, maybe just turn the light on, see how it's looking if you can. But in my experience, 18 to 20 minutes is kind of the sweet spot for how we like it. But again, trial and error. Once you try this recipe once, you're gonna like it so much you're gonna remake it anyways. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop this in the sink, or beside the sink. I'll set these back here because I'm gonna need them again. And let's get started on our onions. So normally I would do this outside, but of course with everything that's going on outside today, I didn't think you'd be able to hear a darn thing that I was saying. So we're gonna do it inside. So I have this old onion bag that I keep. And what we're going to do is we're just gonna trim up our onions and put them into this bag for storage. I'll just kind of shake all the extra papers out of there. I'm just gonna grab my scissors. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to take one of our onions. I'm just going to trim off the tops, get rid of any extra loose papers that we have, and pop them in the bag. So it's any dirt that might be on the end there, we're just going to brush off a little bit too. So just like that. And that's perfect. That's going to go in the bag, and that will keep for, well, hopefully it'll keep for up to 3 months, but I'm not sure. I can't remember what variety of onion it was that I planted. I got my starts from a local nursery just up the road, and to be honest, I was just in a bit of a rush just to get them in the ground. It was a kind of a funny spring for me. Well, we had the baby to work around her schedule too, so it was just a bit of a learning year. Learning how to spend my time wisely, I guess, is maybe how I would put it. Alrighty. So you don't want to take a ton of the outer papers off, but some of them have, you know, kind of like dirt and stuff in them, and that won't store great. So this one just kind of has a little, I don't know, maybe like a, it's not bug damage, I don't think, but just a little hole. Maybe I hit it when I was digging it. So I'm going to put this one aside, and we're going to try and use that one up soonest. We are having leftovers for supper tonight. I don't know if you watched the video that I posted this morning, but I did a huge meal prep the other day, and we are going to be having leftover fatar, which is out of the Magnolia Network cookbook. It was so yummy. So we're gonna do that, and probably just maybe a bag salad. I think I have some bag salad left in my fridge to use up. I don't often do bag salads, but they are so handy to have, especially this time of year. It's just quick, easy. You're still getting your veggies. They're delicious. I haven't met a bag salad that I don't like. Usually this time of year, I don't really have a need for a bag salad, but it's just been kind of a funny gardening year for me this year. My cucumbers, they kind of petered out earlier than usual, but I think it was whatever those cucumber beetles are that got into my garden. They kind of took a toll on the cucumbers. So I got enough cucumbers. Like we enjoyed quite a few of them fresh out of the garden. I was able to get some pickles out of them, but definitely nowhere near as many as I normally do. Next year I have big plans for improvements in my garden. I'm hoping to get a few more raised beds possibly. Just because my peppers did so well in them this year, I don't want to, you know, change that because it worked really well. And I'm thinking, I've done tomatoes in my raised beds before and they did really well too. And I'm thinking maybe that would help with the bug pressure that I was having this year. I don't know. Give me any of your tips or tricks. I also like raised bed gardening. I find it's a little bit easier on the back, you know, bending over, that kind of thing. I definitely feel like there's a place though for in-ground gardening. Like I can't imagine doing my garlic or potatoes in a raised bed. I know lots of people do and it works out well for them, but that just seems like those are fairly low maintenance things that for the most part you just plant them and kind of forget about them, other than watering them if you don't get the rain. And some people like to hill up their potatoes. I have done it both ways, and to be completely honest with you, I don't notice a huge difference, but also I wonder if part of the reason why I haven't noticed a huge difference in that is also because I haven't been, consistent with the watering. Where we live, we're on a dug well, and it's not the best well. We've just run out of water in the past, so I don't water my garden with our well at all. All I use is rainwater that I collect. So if it's a year that we don't get a ton of rain, or if something happens that I can't lug my water out to my garden because I do it by hand with watering cans, then my garden doesn't get watered, which is exactly what happened this year. So hopefully we can come up with a better system. I'm thinking that I might put like one of those big water totes out by the garden and somehow have like a pipe running out to it from the house. My garden's not too far away from the house, so that could work. And then with that, I could possibly hook up a hose to it. In my mind, I feel like it works well. My husband may tell me different because, you know, sometimes I get these bright ideas and they make a lot of sense in my head, but in reality, they're not possible. All right, so we're just kind of moseying along here with these onions. We've got about 12 minutes left on our Dutch baby. So I'm just gonna keep plugging away, and then we'll bring it back here once we've got our Dutch baby finished and we are bringing that out of the oven. All right, so I was just doing a little bit of cleanup and I just thought of something that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's just like a little tip that someone shared with me years ago, and it's such a lifesaver. So if you're ever using your blender and you want a quick and easy way to clean it, add some hot water and dish soap into your blender, pop it back on and whiz it up, and it makes cleanup so much easier. So that's what I've just done. There's our timer. Anyways, that's what I've just done. It's all soapy, but it's perfectly clean. I'll just give it a quick little rinse out, and that's just saved me a ton of extra scrubbing. Okay, let's grab our Dutch baby out of the oven. Look at this. I gotta come around and give you a close-up. Look at this. See how nice and puffed up it is over in this corner. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, look at that. And look at all that simmering butter. Yum. That is going to be delicious. So what I do now is I'm just going to leave this out on the counter. It'll cool completely and it'll probably deflate. So it's nice and puffy right now, but as it cools, it'll deflate, and that's okay. It just becomes, you know, just like a pancake. basically is what it is. So I just let it completely cool. Then I'm going to divide it up into 6 equal-ish pieces and put it in a glass container and pop it in the fridge, and it'll be ready to go for us in the morning. So that's that. Now I want to show you, I'm going to put this behind me on the stove just so I don't accidentally touch it. Good. So it'll just sit there until it's good and cool. So I just wanted to show you, I got done with our onions. These are onions. And my bag is about 3/4 of the way full. So this is a 10-pound bag of onions, and I haven't weighed it, but it feels like it's gotta be close to 8 pounds, I would think. There's quite a few onions in there. So I'm happy with that. I mean, considering I wasn't expecting to get anything from my onions, because as you know, I didn't take the best care of them this year. But yeah, I'm super happy with that. We are going to enjoy these. Now, most of them are red onions, which is really curious because I planted both red and yellow. And I don't know, there's maybe 5 yellow onions, the rest of them are red. So that's kind of interesting that the red ones thrived more than the yellow ones did. Again, I don't know what variety that I planted. Next year, I'm going to do better. This is my promise to you. I'm going to do better at knowing my varieties. I'm going to make better notes. I bought a gardening journal the other day, so I have no excuse. Anyways, guys, that is it for today. It's going to be a short and sweet one just because of everything that we've got going on here, but I just wanted to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend time with me. It means so much to me, and I really appreciate it. As you know, I'm just getting started on my YouTube journey and I have no idea what I'm doing. So the fact that you come here to spend time with me just really means a lot to me. So thank you so much. I hope you are having a great day, and let me know if you try the Dutch Baby recipe. I'm so excited for you to try it if you do. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Bye now.